Lots of violence, yet lots of questions as well. Let's get into this crazy story. 15-year-old Pensacola girl charged with murdering her mother's fiance. What? Escambia County, Florida. This 15-year-old girl who allegedly shot and killed her mother's fiance Wednesday morning in Escambia County is being charged with first-degree murder. The sheriff identified the teen as Sunshine Grace James. She's also charged with attempted murder for shooting at her mother. Y'all. The shooting happened around 7 a.m. at the Essence Point Apartments on East Johnson Avenue as the mother and fiance were in bed. Based on the investigations, we believe it started out to be a relatively normal and even friendly morning in the household, the sheriff said. Then all of a sudden, James, the person who was shooting, daughter, pulls out a handgun and shoots at her mother, narrowly missing her, and also shoots at her mother's fiance, striking him. The mother's fiance, a 35-year-old man, died in the hospital. The mother was grazed in the head by bullets. Before I continue, why? That's one thing that they never mentioned in here was why, okay? I never mentioned why did you shoot at your stepfather, it would be, because it would be your stepfather. Why did you shoot at your stepfather? Because they didn't mention him as like her dad. And why were you trying to kill your mom? Some people in the comments were making a mention. They're like, could it be some kind of something going on between the fiance and the daughter? I don't think so. Maybe. I just don't. I mean, we don't have enough information to know that. But you tried to kill both of your parents. Well, tried to kill him, which you end up doing. Then you tried to kill your mother. Why? I don't get it. I'm gonna actually put up a picture. This is what they have from outside, because they haven't showed really anybody's face, like the daughter, the deceased fiance, or the mother. They haven't showed any of them. But this is one of the images. I'm assuming maybe that's the mother in there, the black lady. But I'm not sure just yet. Okay, but let's continue. According to the mother, there was no argument, no disturbance. Sheriff Simmons says she just pulled out a handgun and started firing at them while they were in bed. Sheriff Simmons said James fled the scene in her parents' car following the shooting and headed to her boyfriend's house. That's when Escambia County deputies located her in the 1200 block of Rio Grande Circle and took her into custody. There's no booking photo of her, which I didn't think you could give her because she's 15, she's a minor, but I don't know how that works in different areas. I was shocked that they even put her name in there, because sometimes they don't do that because they're like, oh, like all these really raising pookies stealing and they're underage, and they're like, oh, we can't give you their name or their image or anything like that. But they have a name, but they just don't have an image with that. I was like, okay, but whatever with that. But she said that it seemed like it was a peaceful day or whatever, and then the daughter just took out a gun and started shooting. Now, something I'm also wondering, where did she get the gun? Okay, where did the gun come from? It's like, yeah, she just took it out and then she started shooting. Whose gun was it? So that's something I find to be very odd. Then she went and fled to her boyfriend's house. It's just, people say like, okay, ever since the pandemic, things been really bad, which I will agree. Yes, ever since the pandemic, things have gotten really, really bad. But I also look at things and I'm like, it feels like things have just been bad already. And obviously they've just been escalated. But I mean, I don't know if it's just lack of parenting or what. But when you look at a lot of these kids are just doing any and everything out here. They're over here talking back to their mama. They're over here fighting. They're shooting people. They're doing all this and all this disrespect. And it's like, whatever happened to that stern parenting? And I'm not saying like, oh, it's these people's fault. That's why, I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying like, remember when we had stern parenting? And it just seems like that has kind of just gone out the window. Like that just isn't a thing anymore, where it's like, no, you're not going to just be talking to me any kind of way that you feel like talking to me. You're not doing that, and I just feel like you have these kids who they're just like, well, I'm going to talk to you however I feel like talking to you. And it's like, we're just gonna allow that to happen. I don't know. And then all these kids doing all this craziness. I don't know. I guess because the way I was raised, you didn't talk back to your mama. You didn't talk back to your dad. I get, sometimes you get so mad and be like, "Arr!" And they'll be like, what? And then you be like, oh, nothing. Nothing. Oh man, this is a nice pillow you got here, ain't it? So it was like, you didn't do that. You didn't buck up to your parents, but now it's like you got kids who they're out here killing people. They're out here killing their parents. They're out here running the streets. I guess also with me, I was never that person where I just wanted to be out here in the streets. You know what I mean? I just never had an interest in just being out like that when I was younger. You know what I mean? Underage, I had no interest because, I was a flutist, still am. And I was in band from 4th grade all the way until 12th grade. And I even did summer band in college. I was in marching band all 4 years of high school and stuff like that. So that was fun to me. You know what I mean? I wasn't out here running around having boyfriends, and which is nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying, personally for me, I wasn't out here running around having boyfriends. I wasn't out here, kicking it with people, doing these Chicago takeovers and all this other stuff. I just wasn't doing that. And I had just zero interest in that because I wasn't raised to think like, oh man, that's fun. It was like, no, you have no business being over there. You know what I mean? So for me personally, I just never understood the lore of these kids being disrespectful and doing all this and doing all that, because it's like, for me, I was raised right to not be going out here and disrespecting your parents, to not be going out here and doing all this and doing all that. So for me, when I see all this stuff, I'm like, obviously you can make your own decisions. Okay. I mean, girl's 15 years old. Really by 10, right from wrong. Really by 9, right from wrong. Judgmental. It's like, if you get approached by a certain person or something, then your judgment may be like, But for the most part, really 8 years old, you're 7 years old, 6 years old, you're not supposed to be picking up a gun and shooting somebody. So that's never like I just didn't know it was bad parents. Bull. Never. Raising the voice, you start getting your emotions and all that kind of stuff. So I could see that later on in life. But the Robin is still in 6 years old, 7 years old. You're not supposed to be doing that. Like, oh man, this is a no-go. But you're still doing it. So for me, I'm just like, nah. That's why I am definitely pro. We need to have harsher laws brought against minors. We also need to give more harsher punishments towards minors too, because 15 years old, you shouldn't be getting probation for that, or a year in juvie, and then that's it, because you're a minor, but you are doing grown-up stuff like murdering people. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about that whole thing. But very unfortunate that a man ended up losing his life. I am curious about these other details that may be coming out in the future. Hey, I greatly appreciate if you could support me. Simply go to ebay.com. In the search bar, type in Latrice Limited, click on shops, and then support me. I have a wide variety of items on there, many of my own personal Latrice Limited items, such as candles, bath bombs, soaps, essential oil blends, lingerie robes, so much stuff. I even have men's ties and comic books on there. Definitely support me, and do not forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.